Welcome to Shovick Sports Shit Podcast. We're just two brothers who just talk sports and give our opinions on today's topics. This is for entertainment purposes only, and these are strictly our opinions and views. So sit back for the next hour and enjoy our sports takes. All right, welcome back to Shovick Sports Shit. I'm Cory. We have a special episode again. We're on night 2. Last night we had Arrowhead Chief Podcast join us. Tonight we have the ladies from Unhinged and Unplugged podcast joining us tonight. Ladies, I'm going to give you guys the floor. You kind of just tell us what your podcast is about and where they can find that podcast.
Okay, yes, our podcast is called Unhinged and Unplugged. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Tressa.
That's Tressa. And basically we just shoot the shit. We just talk about sports that we love. We love hockey. We love football. We love to read. We just love pop culture. We're fangirls to the fullest extent. So we just go back and forth with each other.
Talk about our kids and how much they annoy our lives. That's how we're friends. We met through our kids, thankfully.
Yeah.
And our love of sports.
So being from New York, how did you guys become Chief fans? Like, give us kind of the background of that.
So I've been a sports fan my whole life. I grew up a Giants fan. Clearly the Giants shouldn't even be spoken about. And a few years ago, I stumbled upon Jason and Travis and their story. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. I love the brotherhood. I love what they're about, their whole family dynamic, how they came up. And then I don't know, I fell in love with them. And I was like, all right, I'm a Chiefs fan now because they're winning. So, and she's a Swiftie, so that's how we brought her in.
Yeah. I'm not really the craziest fan of football. I did like Joe Burrow. And I actually didn't like Travis Kelce at first because he was very rude to Joe Burrow. And he would say like whatever he would say about Joe Burrow. I don't know. So I was rooting for Joe Burrow really. And then I slowly became a Chiefs fan.
I just love Andy Reid too. I've always loved it. I liked him when he coached the Eagles. I just love his style of coaching.
Yeah,
but from New York, I can't be an Eagles fan.
It's crazy. Right. So, I mean, obviously the right decisions were made not being a Giants fan anymore. It was kind of weird watching Giants football this year. So there's kind of a backstory with obviously Saquon playing with the Eagles. And we kind of discussed last night about, there was a question posed to Saquon. I think it was Jameis Winston asked Saquon who should sign him. And he said, hey, I think the Giants are looking for a quarterback right now. So he was kind of taking shots at the Giants. So good for him to get out of that situation and kind of move on. Mm-hmm. I think it kind of worked for the best for both of those teams.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily the Giants, but they're getting a high draft pick out of this. So who knows? So kind of give us, what are you most interested in with the Super Bowl? Are you guys more of, the halftime? I know I was talking to my boss at work today and she was like, I'm just going to watch strictly for the fashion. I don't care about the game. I'm going to watch for the fashion. I'm going to watch for the commercials. The halftime show. She's like, not really a Kendrick Lamar fan. She's like, but I just love the aspect of the halftime commercials. So what are you guys looking forward to during the Super Bowl?
The game. I love the game.
Yeah.
The halftime show this year, I'm not really into. I'm not a Kendrick Lamar fan. Who doesn't love the commercials? But
yeah,
I'm excited to. I think it's going to be a very good game.
Yeah. And it's last year we were like on chairs,
literally
peeing our pants.
Yeah, it was wild. We were screaming, jumping. She has a house full of people every year. There's like probably a good 50 of us. And how nobody recorded the way we acted when the Chiefs won was really unfortunate because it was ridiculous.
Yeah, and obviously I'm not the Chiefs fan of the group here with my brother. My brother's the Chiefs fan. I'm obviously a Broncos fan, so he's got to have all the fun the last few years, and then I've kind of had to suffer through some bad times, and hopefully it kind of starts on the up. So obviously with us growing up around the Kansas City area and being Chiefs fans, our whole family's Chiefs fans. We have cousins and some other family members who have season tickets to Chiefs games. So it's obviously been kind of a rough few years for me as far as, seeing people get to celebrate So as a Broncos fan, I've been able to see them win back-to-back Super Bowls, but I've never been able to see them have a chance to go for three-peat. What's the three-peat mean to you guys being Chiefs fans?
It's just we're happy for them. We're happy to be
I mean,
fans.
just to see history being made is amazing, and to prove my husband wrong is even better. So he's a Bills fan because I'm a Chiefs fan.
Oh yeah, one of the yeah, I got it. Yeah, no, it's
so just to say I told you so would be nice.
I mean, and it's history too. I mean, not very many,
Right.
All the historic events we've been able to see sports wise. I mean, this is something that's kind of cool because obviously you've grown up watching the team for so long. And as Chiefs fans, I know my brother, for instance, all the dark years that the Chiefs had to suffer through with some bad teams and what they've had to go through. So being able to see them kind of do their own dynasty and being able to take over for Tom Brady, which I'm assuming no one in here liked Tom Brady that much either. He kind of ruined a lot of moments for some of us, and even Chiefs fans. So, bro, do you got anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I want to just say, having some Chiefs fans in New York, that always makes me happy. But I don't know how people feel about the conspiracy theories out there. But I did see that the NFL paid money to be able to use the trademark three-peat. So if you believe in any of those conspiracy theories, the Chiefs have kind of already won. Like, NFL's not going to pay money for something if they aren't going to make sure it happens, right? So we're going to be living good Sunday because that means Chiefs are going to win. So no need to watch the game. Get all the confetti and stuff ready because it's going to happen because NFL paid money for a trademark, and they wouldn't do that just for nothing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Actually, I haven't heard anything about that, but I mean, and you get a chance to have a three-peat, so you got to try to cash in on it.
Yeah, the Heat trademarked it, Pat Riley, with the LeBron
and
era.
I feel like
so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. But I just feel like it takes away from the team.
But with Tom Brady too, I feel like everyone hated on Tom Brady and the Patriots because they were so good for so long, and now it's the same thing. And Pat Mahomes said that yesterday during his press interview, and he was like, "Well, everyone hated." He's like, "I even hated him." So I feel like it's just the same thing. You're gonna hate who you're gonna hate because they're winning. Yeah. If your team's not winning, you're gonna hate the team that's winning. I feel like that's life.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
hate teams that are winning, right? Like, I remember us hating Tom Brady, and just to throw a little Giants flavor in it, we were all big Eli Manning and Giants fans during those times because they were the ones always stopping them. So, yeah, if you're winning, if you're hated, it means you're winning or you're doing something right. That's all it is. Rather to be hated and winning and instead of liked and losing all the time, kind of like Lamar, Josh Allen. Like everyone loves those guys, but they're not winning shit. So I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't even feel bad.
And so
I did. I felt bad.
No. Yeah, and they always want to play, like, you always got to have a villain, right? So you go from Tom. Now it's easy to hate on Patrick Mahomes, but at the same time,
right?
I mean, you have to respect how he plays. And then again, I know we've been covering the playoffs with, as far as like, Travis Kelce's actually kind of getting back to his normal self. Outside of that last week, obviously he didn't have a huge game, but the week before, so obviously, he's a huge part of this as well, and what the Chiefs have been able to do. Kind of give us your thoughts, and what are you guys going to be looking for? It can be offense and or defense for the Chiefs. What do you think is going to be the biggest key for the Chiefs to get this win?
Stopping Saquon. I think the defense has to stop Saquon. I think Saquon's going to give them a run for their money. I think it's going to be tough. And I think that, and he wants it.
He is good.
So
and just how he's been since they've got him. And we touched on this last night too, about what he's been able to do for that team and for the city. Honestly, while the Chiefs haven't quite seen a running back like this, I don't think Saquon's really faced a defense like the Chiefs either. So that's kind of where my X factor is the Chiefs' defense against Saquon. Essentially, is the defensive line going to be able to penetrate, get get them throwing the football, because Jalen Hurts obviously struggles in certain parts of the throwing aspect of the game. And can they shut down the middle of the field and not let Dallas Goedert go, which the Eagles are kind of suspect on defense as far as kind of the similar things. So is there anything with the Chiefs defense that makes you believe that they won't be able to stop Saquon?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. They, with Spagnuolo, they could do it. I truly believe they could do it. And I feel like he also knows the Eagles offense. Like, he can play to that aspect too. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to be hard, but I think it's going to be a close game. But I think the defense could do it. And he's going to run.
Yeah,
We all know
I think you're
Saquon's going to
looking at
run.
yeah, you're looking at strength for strength, right? Like Spags, big game coordinator, Saquon, just a freak out. I mean, I don't care what the game is. I would trust him as my running back. So, he has a
Right.
giant sized chip on his shoulder, no pun intended. I think you're spot on. Like, it's strength for strength. Spags
Right.
always coming up for us in these big games against Saquon, who you have arguments, but best running back in football right now, hands down, as far as just everything. So, yeah, I think that's spot on. Strength for strength. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah. No.
And what you guys said first, it's going to be a good game, and I agree, and I think it's going to come down to Spags versus Saquon.
Right.
Who gets the last laugh? Now, we obviously think it's going to be the Chiefs. Well, 3 out of the 4 of us think it's going to be the Chiefs. I don't know if we can count the Broncos fan. It is what it is, but yeah, I'm excited. I think Saquon, you're spot on with that. I think he is just the big spotlight on determining this game. Nothing really else to add to that.
It's just stopping him. And I think Travis is going to have a hard time being open. Mahomes is going to have a hard time hitting him because they're going to be on him like white on rice.
Yeah, and that kind of was actually leading into the next point is they have DeAndre Hopkins. They haven't really been able to use him too much, but they also have Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think in the big picture is I think the Chiefs are going to have to get their run game going. I think at the end of the day, yes, Patrick Mahomes can make the throws, make the plays, extend the plays, but I think they're still going to have to establish the run to try to give their defense a little bit of a break as well. Is there one player that you think could have a breakout game that's not named Travis Kelce?
I think Pacheco is going to make his comeback for the season. Like, he's going to shine because he had a rough go and he really didn't play much. But then when he came back, I feel like he didn't do much either.
Yeah, it's kind
of like it took him a little bit to get back from the injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fan favorite, and like Chiefs fans, right? Watching the last few years, Chiefs have been at their best when Pacheco's doing something.
He always shines when, like, he has to.
Yeah, and just like even if it's not massive runs or anything, it's just those 3 or 4 yard runs where he just runs through the buildings for just 3 yards and just that energy. Chiefs have been at their best when they have Pacheco bringing that energy. So I would personally love to see Pacheco go off. I think if that happens, the scales definitely tilt in our favor. So I'm hoping you're right on that. But even just from like an entertainment standpoint, right? Like it's fun to watch him run. He could be getting 1 yard, but he's going to act like he's trying to just run through your entire family. And I don't know. I love that. So.
Yeah, and it's easy to pick all the stars, right? It's easy to say Patrick Mahomes is going to be the Super Bowl MVP. It's easy to say Travis is going to get 10 catches, 100 yards. You kind of have to start thinking with a good team like the Eagles and their ability to play defense and how well they've done this season. You kind of have to start wondering about those role players. And for me, I know you guys picked Pacheco. I'm going Xavier Worthy just because I think he extends the run game just a tad, whereas they can't get the run game going. They've been getting him out in the screens, the jet sweeps. And I think last week when he kind of just went off on Buffalo, I think that was kind of, I think that's catapulting him into what they have been expecting most of the season. So my X factor for the Chiefs, and then kind of the guy that I'm kind of picking to have a breakout game, is Xavier Worthy. I think he can play that McCole Hardman role, what McCole Hardman did last year, as Hardman obviously caught the game-winning touchdown. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. And flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, we've kind of talked the last couple of weeks about how suspect the Chiefs secondary has been. This is going to be kind of a big boy game for the secondary, especially the safeties with Saquon. So we're going back to Saquon, obviously. But then you kind of expand it out a little bit more, and then you have two really good receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you shutting down to make sure that they're not the ones who beat you?
Saquon.
No Saquon. We're looking past Saquon. We're done talking about Saquon right now for right now. So let's go into Saquon's out. You guys have kind of done what you wanted to do with that.
Awesome.
Now you got to pick between the receivers and Dallas Goedert. Who are you not letting beat you?
Dallas Goedert.
Yeah,
I feel like
he is a younger version of Travis, essentially, right? Not by much.
Right.
But their game's almost identical.
Right. Chiefs suck at covering tight ends. So if you take out Dallas Goedert, you're kind of taking out a weakness that the Chiefs haven't been able to defend all year, right? Like A.J. Brown, he kind of fits that Saquon mold. He's a freak receiver, right? The ball's in his hands, great things are going to happen. Devontae Smith is kind of, I don't know, he's a weird one to me. He's like a $130, but somehow he's out here playing a grown man's game and dominating. So he confuses me, but I agree. If we take out Dallas Goedert, you're kind of taking care of one of your own weaknesses. So that's like a twofer. You know, you take out one of their top weapons while also stopping something you haven't been able to stop.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to go with Devontae Smith just based on, I think McDuffie stays on A.J. Brown, or should stay on A.J. Brown. Though you wouldn't be surprised if he were to maybe match up with Devontae a little bit. But then that second, third corner kind of comes into play of who's going to be able to stop that outside guy. Because now if Jalen Hurts can get some time to throw the football, we all know he can throw the ball rather well. And he throws the deep ball rather well. But he also has receivers that can take a 3-yard slant route and take a house. Is there anything on the defensive side of ball that possibly may show? So like we talked last week about the holes could probably show up or would show up on the defense. Philadelphia is similar to Buffalo, but with, I think, better skill position players. Is there a hole that may kind of stick out on the Chiefs defense that we may see on Sunday?
Well, I think she nailed it with the tight end. That's kind of been a glaring hole from week one, right? Like the Ravens are in that game week one against us because their backup tight end went for like 180 yards and was a toe away from tying it, not beating us, but tying us, you know. So I don't know. I think there's a couple other holes, but I think she nailed it with, you know, the tight end that can really, and he's a good one, right? Like we're not talking about some scrub tight end off the street.
But he's in the game.
Yeah, he's one of the better ones in the league. So I think tight end coverage and tackling, right? We're talking about Saquon. We're talking about A.J. Brown. Two dudes we've mentioned that can take the ball from a 1-yard gain and make it an 80-yard gain. Those are the momentum plays. Those are the daggers in the heart. So I go kind of half with what she said about covering tight ends and then the other half tackling. There's been some suspicious games tackling-wise that can't happen for the Super Bowl.
Right.
I'm going to be honest, and I think a little part of me died last week or 2 weeks ago. I really thought Josh Allen was going to do it. I thought he was going to save us non-Chiefs fans.
I was a little nervous.
I thought he was going to do it too.
Yeah, so walk us through that fourth quarter. Like, what are you guys thinking in the fourth quarter? Because we kind of start seeing the game blow up a little bit. What's your reactions watching that fourth quarter of a Chiefs-Bills game when it's going back and forth?
And the main thing I want to hear is how many times you guys like jumped on or over the couch. How many times you like shoved each other through a wall.
I feel like we were texting each other back and forth. We had our kids are cheerleaders. I
Okay.
was on the way home from cheerleading competition from
Ooh.
Atlantic City. I had the phone on the dashboard watching the game. My husband's driving and I'm literally screaming. He's yelling at the phone. I'm yelling at the phone. The kids are in the backseat sleeping. I'm like, this is fucked up. This is wild. Screaming. And then we made it home for the fourth quarter and it was just all hell broke loose in the house because it was the refs are throwing the game. That should have been the Bills Bowl. This is ridiculous. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
A lot of
fighting
it
that.
with my
it was
people.
a roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah.
But and then everything my husband said, my 9-year-olds repeated. She's like,
No.
no, that the refs, the Patrick Mahomes has the refs in their pocket. I'm like, you're 9.
You're not.
You're 9. Yeah.
Stop repeating what your dad is saying.
Yeah, I mean, if think about it, I mean, the Chiefs haven't really been blowing people out. So
Right.
The last 17 games they've only won by 1
yeah, it's
or
crazy.
score, 1 point,
It's a
whatever it
crazy
was.
stat. Yeah. So now you're into the postseason where you know you're chasing the three-peat. 2, there's never been an AFC Championship game without Patrick Mahomes in it, and then also,
Literally.
and then you have to fight the refs and what they're trying to do. Apparently.
Oh,
So before we dive more into the Super Bowl, kind of what was your favorite moment maybe of the season this year? Just based on, it was supposed to be a down year for the Chiefs, but they still finished 15-2. What was your favorite moment of the season? And maybe when did you start maybe realizing hey, we might actually be able to fucking do a three-peat here?
come on, we're Chiefs fans. We
Well,
thought
they
that at the
weren't
end of the Super
losing.
Bowl. We never thought we weren't going to do it.
It was the doink, the kick for me.
Yeah.
That kick. My house was shaking. Everyone was screaming at each other. They should not be winning. I'm like, okay, whatever. It is what it is. They won.
Yeah, and I think, even from like the first game of the season, right? The Ravens kind of look really good, and you kind of think, hey, Chiefs may actually have some problems. Obviously, we see how the game ends, but then the question isn't, are the Ravens good? It's more of, hey, are the Chiefs maybe taking a step back? Are they regressing in certain areas just to kind of kill that narrative really quickly? They obviously weren't, but as a Broncos fan, the block kick, I thought we had the Chiefs. I thought Bo Nix was going to go into Arrowhead, get the dub. The block kick kind of ruined it for me. I think it was.
Oh my God.
I think it was that moment where I was like, "There's nothing that's going to go wrong for this team the whole season," because he literally had the perfect drive on the road in Arrowhead to win the game, and we still couldn't even make a field goal. I mean, they couldn't even block it good enough, and that's kind of when I started realizing, like, damn, I'm really gonna have to sit through
Another Chiefs Super Bowl.
Yeah, a lot of guys had that same reaction.
Yeah. So and luckily my friends aren't too wild and crazy. I mean, they keep it somewhat respectable, and I kind of, I try not to talk shit during the games. It was really hard for me a few years ago when they won their first Super Bowl against San Francisco, when they were getting their ass beat most of the game.
I was so sad that entire game.
So
I was a sad puppy in the corner.
Yeah. So I was trying not to like talk shit like you guys thought you were gonna do it, and then obviously the Buccaneers go just absolutely dismantling that team. I try to stay neutral when it comes to that, because on the flip side, Denver's not very good, so I can't really say much to begin with. So let's jump back to the Super Bowl real quick.
I want to get my favorite part out there though, because I have to get my patented one-liner in every episode of. My favorite moment was fuck the Raiders. That first win we had against them, right, with all that shit talking, with having the blueprint, hanging Kermit the Frog for Patrick Mahomes. Like, I know it wasn't a pretty victory, but we still beat him. And like, now we just won a Super Bowl in your locker room, so fuck off. And you talk all this shit anyway from a 2-win team. You have the blueprint, and we still came out and beat you. And like, I don't know. My hatred for the Raiders, and that was really my favorite moment, was just like, you guys can shut the hell up now. Like, yeah, you got a good one on Christmas a year ago, whatever. Just shut your mouth.
They were having an off day. Sorry.
they were having an off day. No big deal. No big deal. We saw what kind of dumpster fire that was all season for them. So, and even the guy we had last night, Chris, he lives in Vegas. So we were able to kind of ask him, what's it like being a Chiefs fan out in Vegas? Like, do you get to rub it in at all that, like, hey, Chiefs literally won a Super Bowl in your building before you guys even got a playoff win? But
Mm-hmm.
he says for the most part, it's pretty neutral out there, and they really can't say much because they're still Raider fans. So
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
that
Exactly.
was kind
I
of
would
cool.
talk so much shit though if I was in Vegas. Like, I don't know. That's just me, I guess. But just, I don't know. Just they're a 3-win team, and they were talking so much shit, and then it's all fun and games. Like they were hanging Kermit the Frog, but like it's a little too far. Like I'm all for a little bit of friendly, shit talking, but you're basically insinuating that you want to hang our quarterback. Like,
Right.
get real, guys. You guys aren't even good.
Right. And I feel like you can't hate. I feel like you can't hate on Patrick Mahomes. Like he's a good player. He's a good person. Like that all matters. If you're a shit person in real life, I feel like that affects how people feel about you.
It really is. It is hard to hate him, even though just watching games and watching him in general, I do hate it. But at the same time,
But he's not an asshole.
It's like not a personal thing, I don't think, against him.
No.
You hate him as like an opposing fan, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's just
you
like
don't
it's
wish
one of,
ill will on his family or anything. You hate him as an opponent.
yeah, it's one
Right.
of those where if he's not on my team, then I don't like go fuck off. Like I don't. If you come be on my team, like why do you guys get the cool stuff? Like why do I have to keep watching you literally just make weird throws, awesome throws, like shit that no one else is ever gonna do. I think back to the game last week. Dude's literally flat, falling, almost touching the ground, and still just throws an absolute missile to a wide open guy. Like, who else is doing that? Like,
Right.
Just to give a shout out to them, Joe Burrow did that this year. All right, I know
true.
we had a little bit of a Joe Burrow liker at one point or something. So Joe Burrow did that once.
Joe Burrow was my fantasy
wide open.
quarterback. That's fine. He won me a fantasy championship. I like Joe. I like Joe Burrow. But I mean, again, you just see, and you kind of almost wonder, like, hey, when's this next play going to happen that he's just going to be like, here I am. Like, what are you going to do to stop it?
And then he went on and scored 2 touchdowns last week too. Like, he's just like, hold my beer. I got this.
Yeah, so that was actually that was something else I was going to talk about with both quarterbacks obviously having the ability to run. Do you think it's more important for Patrick to be able to do what he was able to do last week as far as I think it was 11 carries for 44 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
But we also know Jalen Hurts, he can scramble. But if he can get the designed runs, so who do you think has a better game rushing the football amongst the quarterbacks, Patrick or Jalen?
Jeez. Oh.
I'm gonna say Patrick only because I think Chris Jones is gonna be on top of Jalen. I don't think he's gonna let him have a shot.
No, that's actually perfect and we talked last week about Jalen Hurts when he gets pressured is not very good because he hesitates on where he's running. There's not really a hesitation with Patrick. He kind of knows where he's going. He kind of knows where.
He knows pre-snap where he's running if he has to.
Yeah, he knows that. And I think, and I don't know if the Eagles are going to run enough design plays for Jalen. They could. I think if they can get the designed runs, I think that's when Chiefs might be in trouble a little bit. Because if they can get outside and not let Chris Jones clog up the middle, then I think that's going to cause trouble for that. But if they're trying to drop back 30 times, then I think the pressure is going to get to him because Spags obviously loves his blitzes. Spags obviously knows when to blitz. So, all right, you guys are going Patrick, bro. Are you obviously taking Patrick to have more rushing?
Yeah, and it's almost for the same reason she said. I mean, we know I'm more of a defensive guy anyway, so like, yeah, I love Patrick, but give me my defense all day. I think Spags has had enough great defensive line games, and he's seen people like this. I mean, Lamar, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts in a previous Super Bowl. Like, he's gone against plenty of quarterbacks like this before, especially in big games. There's a game plan, right? Like, Chris Jones is a stud up the middle, Mike Dana and George Karlaftis on the edge. And then what he did against Lamar a little bit was Chanel QB spying, right? So you mentioned it last night. I trust the Chiefs coaching a little more. Like, if we're just talking about who's a better running quarterback, it's Jalen Hurts. Like, he's more mobile, he's faster, more athletic. but schemes and gameplays and all that comes into play. So I trust the Chiefs more, which is why I think Patrick has the better day running. I don't know if that's going to necessarily be a game plan for the Eagles, right? Like, yeah, we know Patrick can run, keep an eye on him, but I think Spags actually has a game plan on not letting Jalen Hurts beat him with the legs.
Right.
Yeah, and there's I haven't got a chance to look at all the prop bets, and I don't know how often you guys look at the prop bets and kind
Every day.
Yeah,
Every
so
day.
I know.
It's a gem.
Yeah, and I know that they're coming out with new ones each day, and I was a little busier today, so I didn't get a chance to look at some of those. But is there any kind of prop bets that you guys truly look for, and what you guys kind of get more excited about? Like, is it the coin toss? Is it who's going to score first? Who's going to get the longest touchdown or stuff like that?
I always bet the coin toss, who's gonna score first, and the color of the Gatorade. Those are like my 3 Super Bowl
The
staples.
color of the Gatorade.
They do.
Right?
Yeah.
That is a degenerate gambler. I grew up with a degenerate gambler, and that's just how I am the way I am. But I feel like I also like I'll do a parlay that like is like it's gonna get me 70,000 just because I want to try to win it.
Me too. Yes, I did that one during the Ravens-Bills game.
I didn't win.
Unlikely to happen, but I put like $20 down on Derrick Henry fumbling, and it was going to win like, I don't remember, like $85K or something because he never fumbles. So I'm like, I'll do this, right? Like if it happens, I cash out. If not, it's like $20.
It was $20.
$20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to me how it makes it fun just because if you're like me, for example, I have no rooting interest in either of these teams. Whoever wins, cool. But now I can go and I can say it's going to be green Gatorade or it's going to be purple Gatorade or orange, whatever. Or even the littlest of give me heads, I guess. I mean, it's a 50-50 chance, right? So it's kind of a fun part of the game. And you always have to make those long, ridiculous parlays just because it's like what you can never know when you get both Chiefs win the three-peat and then you're cashing in 200K, just like boom.
Yeah, let me ask him this because I do it, and I want to know if I'm the only like just weird ass person in the world, right? So obviously a Chiefs fan, I have my Chiefs parlays, but each week of the playoffs, I've done a parlay for the opposing team. That way, like if we lose, I'm at least cashing out, right?
We've been talking about that today. I'm like, we should just secretly put the Eagles on a different site just to like.
Okay.
Like I don't want to tell anybody, but you never know because.
I've even bet on the national anthem, like the over or under of the national.
Yeah, people do. There are such crazy.
Like Chris Stapleton, what was that last year? Chris Stapleton?
I think so.
Yeah.
I was like, he's going well over everybody. It's gonna last a long time.
Some of the props that I had no idea were out there. I didn't know that. Like the length of the national anthem. That's crazy.
Set the time.
The over under.
Yep, they set the time for it, and then you just the over under is just a good old over under. It's simple.
Anything. I feel they'll let me bet on anything. It's crazy, but that makes it entertaining for people that really maybe don't care about the game. They like the commercials. They play commercial bingo, and that keeps them entertained.
We should have this year.
We should.
We have we're the only two. I feel like the only two women that are at the Super Bowl party that watched the actual game.
Hey, that's awesome.
Everyone else is like, whatever. We're like,
I refuse to be Super Bowl parties because I have to lock in,
zone in.
Yeah,
so I don't do any parties.
Yeah.
Like I want to be that guy, but I'm like,
well, last year we were in the kitchen and the guys were in the living room, and there was a delay at the end of the game, and we were like, oh my god, I was like pummeling people to get into the living room. We're like, everybody out of the way. Never again.
That's awesome.
It's a hit or miss. Like we have a small gathering, but we've also been to huge gatherings where there's everyone all over the place. But then it kind of does get kind of distracting just because you do have the group who's literally trying to watch the game, and you have everyone trying to like walk in front and do this and this.
Yeah.
And yelling.
The big party I went to was the Chiefs-Bucks Super Bowl, so that was it for me. Like that's the one Super Bowl party I went to, and we got our asses just straight ate up. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to just being myself, watching the game. Like,
right, that worked. Yep. Yeah.
I'm not
superstitious, right? We're pretty good. Yeah, we have a pretty good group that nobody's really like doing.
They know if you're not interested in the game, stay in the kitchen.
There's rules, right? There's unwritten rules.
Yeah, you get the other TV, get the hell out of the way, let us watch the game.
You watch the commercials on this TV, and we'll
We'll throw the
Watch
puppy
that one.
bowl on in the other room, and like you guys,
Exactly. Right.
Have fun with your
Yeah.
chips and dip.
So if you had to put anything down on this game, and we're doing this for entertainment purposes only, whoever's listening to this, entertainment purposes only, what's one bet that you're going to possibly do that you're going to feel like this is going to be the one?
I'm putting the
The Travis
over on the
Kelce
amount of
ability.
times I want to punch Nick Sirianni in the face.
Over or under on how many times they're gonna show fucking Taylor Swift.
No, you know what? I don't
That's gonna,
think.
everyone's going to cash. I mean,
I don't
they're
think
going to
they're
make so
gonna
much
show
money
her.
off that one.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna every time Travis makes a play, they're gonna show her.
I don't think that they're gonna show her a lot this year.
The only questions they've asked him throughout the entire media thing yesterday was about
Oh,
Taylor
I
Swift.
know, but I don't think they're
You
gonna.
have high hopes, babe.
I don't know.
Do you think
I
she's
mean, I'm a
performing
Taylor
at the
Swift fan.
halftime show? Do you think
No,
that's
I
Makes
wish
sense.
happening?
she
Yeah,
won't.
there.
Everyone's saying she's gonna come out
I
with
don't
Kendrick
think so.
Lamar, but I don't think so. I don't think she'll do this. I feel like she's not gonna take
not
away
really
from
like
it.
that. She's not really like a surprise kind of
No.
gal. Like
No, I think she'd
where
want it
she'll
planned
just
out, or
do
at least
like
Well, no,
somewhat.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
She does have that
I don't
rap
think she wants.
song
If,
that she
I think
did
if
one
it
time.
wasn't the Chiefs, maybe. If it wasn't the Chiefs, maybe. But because it's him, I don't think she will.
I definitely think she deserves her own halftime show.
Yeah, I've
Jay-Z
been
won't
waiting
give
for
it
that
to her.
too.
Well,
I've actually.
Jay-Z
Yeah.
won't do
Is
it.
Travis
Not a-
going to propose if they win?
No.
that should be a bet. I hope so. I'm thinking that. I'll go with that bet.
I don't think so. I think it's too cliche.
Hey, I'm sure there is. I'm
Oh,
sure
but
there,
that
I'm
just
sure
wraps
there
up
is
their
a bet out there
relationship.
for
Their
it.
whole
Like,
relationship is cliche.
We're gonna have to bet on
Their
that.
whole relationship is cliche. I think
Would we love that? Probably. I mean, I like him a lot, so I would leave my husband for him, but that's besides the
No, we want them to get married and have
That's
all the
fair. Like,
babies.
We
there's
do.
always that one. Yeah.
yeah, so
But
let's jump
I
into
don't
this
think
hockey
so.
thing real quick.
I
'Cause,
think
like,
it's pretty
yeah, I want to jump in this hockey thing
We're
real
big
quick because I was
hockey
kind of
girls.
looking at your guys's. I was looking at your guys' Instagram page and I saw some stuff that you guys went to a New York Rangers event. Like, are you like diehard Rangers?
I would have
Die
chalked
Hard,
you
I-
guys up to Islander
was-
fans.
No, fuck the Islanders. I was born in a Rangers onesie. Like my dad had season tickets from when I was born until COVID, and then he gave them away instead of asking if we wanted them. But that's besides the point. But I
Oof.
grew up in the Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
remember-
lived in St. Louis for about 4 years, but prior to coming out to St. Louis, we watched hockey, but we weren't like, But then we got to St. Louis and we went to a few Blues games and kind of been able to, like, now we're like, we can actually talk a little bit of hockey and we're kind of like it's pretty fun. One of our buddies does a huge Blues. He does a huge Blues podcast. So he's been able to kind of come on and talk some hockey and stuff. So you guys are pretty excited about JT Miller, huh?
Very.
Oh yeah. So
You weren't too excited.
I wasn't, because there was so much crap going on about his the Canucks and how he was having a hard time with the other guy, Elias or whatever his name is, and I don't know. I heard that he was like a locker room problem, so I'm like, we don't need that. Like, we don't need that negative energy in the locker room.
He wasn't when he was on the Rangers originally. And
Oh shit, he was an original Ranger?
Yeah.
He was on the Rangers, yeah. And then they traded
Okay.
him. And now we got him back. So he played with Mika. Him and Trocheck have been friends since they're 8.
Yeah.
They played PB hockey together and now they're playing again. So like they have a good rapport. And Mika's been playing the best he had. The last 2 games are his best 2 games all season. So I'm hoping
Yeah, I
it
got Zibanejad on my
turns things
fantasy
around for
hockey
them.
team, so I'm all for that. Like Zibanejad's my dude.
Yeah, he's
Always has
not
been.
having a good year this year.
not having a good go.
He's putting up fantasy numbers somehow. That's all I really know.
Finally. I mean,
But
not the rest
yeah.
of the season.
And then I have Adam Fox on my.
truly-
That's the only one I have.
Oh, Adam Fox, he's a good one. Adam Fox is a good one.
Yeah. We truly believe something happened within the locker. Like something happened. Someone slept with someone's wife. And that's why that's what we think. Because there was drama. They couldn't get it together.
Yeah.
And then somebody got sent away and the team was better. So
Like-
we're convinced that something went down.
Look, if sleeping with another teammate's wife is really what turns a season around, like who's to say let's not do that, right? Like for the sake of winning. All right,
Well,
everything.
no, that's why we think they were losing.
Oh, what? That
We
should help.
think-
That
we
should boost
think
performance. Come on, guys.
Something was going down. Something wasn't right.
Yeah,
That's
hockey
crazy.
players are they're wild. Like it's fun. And I haven't heard too much about there was a guy on the Rangers who was watching a playoff game last year, and he literally no sooner, like, I think he was, puck didn't even drop, and he just started beating the shit out of this dude. Just started wailing on him, and they said he actually had more suspension, like more games suspended.
Oh, was
than he
that that
Matt
young kid?
Rempe.
Yeah, that is.
That's our guy.
That dude just started like beating the shit out of this other guy, and I was like, bro, the game's not even started, and you're already trying to get out of this.
We were trying to
He's
watch
out- he's
games
out
when he was
number
up because we were like, this shit's awesome. Like,
yeah, I
He's
literally
not
would
even
watch.
hockey. He was just trying to bully.
And he's a baby. He's 22 years old.
It
He's
is him.
6'9".
We love him.
We love
Yeah.
him. He talks to us
Actually,
all the time.
Yeah,
He
I
loves us.
honestly, like, I was always like a Ranger fan, but I wasn't so into hockey. And then I started reading like hockey romance novels. It's like a whole thing. The whole
Hockey
thing.
rom-
And then I actually started watching it on my own, but not even NHL. I was watching college hockey. And my husband would be like, "What are you doing?" And I was just whatever. And then the first hockey game I watched was the what is it called? The Winter Classic.
Oh, it's a classic.
And
There's his
that's
Winter
first game.
Classic.
Matt Rempe's first game. So I'm sitting on the couch. Yeah, I'm sitting on the couch watching it, and I'm like, "Wow, they're talking about this young kid. His dad died like on that day, a couple of years ago, and he got to do the lap and the rookie lap." And I'm like, "That's so cool that his first game is outside, like, in this big event or whatever." And that's what made me like him. So I feel like I kind of like grew up with him like from the start.
Yeah, I'll watch any hockey team that I see on TV, but if I knew it was the Rangers, I would automatically make sure I was watching from the beginning just in case, because literally the first game that I saw with this guy, and he just started doing that, and then it was just, it was.
Well, that was like the game. We went to the Rangers Devils game, and the puck did not even drop.
They all fought.
All of a sudden, all 10 players dropped their gloves and just went at it. And they all got...
And everybody
got
got ejected.
Seeing him. We were like so excited to see Matt Rempe. He got ejected in the first 30 seconds of the game. All 10 players they put out off the ice were like, that's the whole starting line. Like,
It's wild.
I think that was that one we saw where there was like 120 penalty minutes, and I remember reading about that. Yeah.
They just kept like piling them in the penalty box, and we're like, how is this gonna happen? And they're like, you know what? Everybody in the locker room were like, who's gonna play?
You have to have somebody. You have to have
some hatred for. Was it just like hatred for New Jersey, or was like the Rangers were like?
It was actually like a. It was like, it was a few years before that. I don't remember how many years, but that exact day where the Rangers and the Devils played each other, and that exact thing happened. So I think they just did it like, we're gonna do it again. Like, why not? Let's make history. Like, let's just right. Yeah. But there is we go to plenty at Rangers Devils, and there's always it's always a physical game.
Yeah.
So who would be considered their rival? Like, probably the Islanders, but like outside of the Islanders, the who?
Philly, the Flyers, and the Devils.
Yeah, nobody likes any Philly sports, so that makes sense.
That's true. It really is.
We went to the taping of Jason Kelsey's first late night show dressed like this. Mm-hmm. Chiefs hats, Chiefs sweaters, the only two in the whole place. Nobody liked us.
Everybody was in
Love it.
Everyone was decked out Eagles, and here we are in
Travis.
Philadelphia, full head to toe Chiefs. And he was like,
but they were actually nice. Nobody was really going nuts.
No.
Well, you have that going. I think I saw wasn't it the Eagles fans who called that Packers fan the C word, and like it just got out of control. And so at least you guys didn't see that.
The Philly fans are no joke.
Yeah, nah.
No. Even the Flyer, like there's a lot of Flyer fans at the Ranger games, and it doesn't end well. Somebody's always getting like thrown out of the Garden.
So obviously we don't have too many interactions or any interactions with Philly fans being in the Midwest. So the reputation of the Philly fans is pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We wanted to go. Didn't we want to go last year when the Chiefs played the Eagles was the playoffs? They played in the playoffs?
I don't remember what we wanted to do.
Or was it Baltimore? I don't remember. I think it was Philly. We wanted to go to Philly for something, and our husbands were like, no. If you're going to Philly, you're not going dressed no, you're not going to that stadium dressed like that. It's not happening.
Even baseball gets out of hand. And I'll never forget when the Yankees won in 2009 and they were against the Phillies, there was a big sign at Yankee Stadium and someone made it and it said, "In New York, we smoke Phillies." And I loved it. It was
That's
like,
also a
I'll never
shitty fan
forget
base.
that.
You're right. Like, nobody likes the Yankees. Well, I guess you guys might like the Yankees, but like
Oh,
nobody
we're
likes the
Yankees.
Yeah,
Yankees.
we're Yankee fans.
But like that's the same thing. Like when the Yankees kept winning, everyone hated them. It's the same thing as the Chiefs. Like,
Yeah.
it just is what it is.
Yeah.
I just don't
You're
like
doing
that you
something
can't
right.
have like facial hair and stuff in New York. Like,
Yeah, they are strict. It is
it's
getting a bit out of
2025,
hand.
y'all. Like, let's get a little character out here.
No.
All right.
I agree too. The Yankees, it became more of like a business. Like they're very
Yep.
suit and
Prim and
tie,
proper.
but
they're not winning, so it's not
it doesn't
working.
have to be like that. It's like more of an organization.
They gotta
maybe
get
switch it up a little bit, right? It's not 1943 anymore.
Get a
Like,
beard. Show off that 30-pound chain you got around your neck.
They do let them have the stashes though, and some of the creeper stashes is kind of
Yeah, and they look like idiots.
70s.
Yes.
It's so
some of
bad.
them you're kind of just like, yo man, let's just go with the no facial hair.
Want
Just
something
get
on
that
their
stash.
face.
I don't
Yeah.
know
it's
why
like,
that's
what porn
why
star is
that's
that
popular.
pitching?
Exactly. I feel, but every sport has one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody has one. The Rangers have Vincent Trocheck.
Yeah.
The Chiefs had Travis Kelce. I don't know what
Yeah.
he was thinking with that. That had to go.
Yeah, Taylor
Yeah.
needs to work. Taylor definitely needs to work with him on that when he talk him out of doing that. Like, hey, let's just
Maybe the trimmed beard. We're gonna keep it at that.
yeah, just keep
He
the
will make
trim. No need to go to the stash. We don't need you to look
And
like a
when
state
it's-
trooper.
But he
out
does
there.
that because of Andy Reid, supposedly.
Yeah.
That's like
Well,
an Andy Reid thing.
Yeah.
Andy can kind of pull it off though because he's had it for forever and he's kind of grown into it a little bit. So,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to see Andy without one. That'd kind of look really weird.
Oh, I don't even know what he would look like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to see that.
I don't know. I don't know if we want to know what that would look like.
It's like a staple.
Because I think
No.
I think and I think back to last year when he had like all the icicles growing on it and all that stuff from the cold. And we had that whole cold spell going through Missouri and whatnot. And but he wore it like he wears it. He's good with it. So
yeah.
It's prediction time. We've been asking everybody who's coming on here with us to kind of give their predictions. You can give your score predictions and who you think may be the Super Bowl MVP, or you can just give one or the other. I mean, it's up to you. I'm going to give you guys the floor. Give us your predictions for the Super Bowl this Sunday.
I'm going
I don't know.
41-38 Chiefs.
Ooh.
Okay, I like that.
I know it's high, but I think it's going to be a wild game.
Yeah. I think it's going to definitely be close. I don't know what to guess about.
Who's going to be the MVP?
Probably Patrick Mahomes. Yeah.
That's a safe bet, right? Like we were talking about props. Like that's a really safe bet.
I'm pretty safe. Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't really take a risk.
My risk is that Travis Kelce is going to propose to Taylor Swift. That's the risk.
That's not going to happen.
See, I'm the opposite. I like being bold with like MVPs and game wreckers. I agree. In my heart, I want the Chiefs to win like 41-0. Just because, like, I don't like Philadelphia sports.
No.
I just don't. I hate them. I don't like them. But I think you're right. It's going to be close. I don't think it'll be as high. I'll go like 34 to like 28-ish range with the Chiefs winning. Obvious Patrick MVP, but I'm going to pivot off of that and go with my heart. I think George Karlaftis gets the MVP. We know that's my favorite player, so
he's been playing very well.
I think he was my Super Bowl MVP pick last year when we were doing this, going against the Niners, and it didn't work out. We won, but he didn't exactly do much besides recover a fumble. But I think Chiefs win, George MVP. Philly goes back crying, so we all honestly win a little bit.
They're just going to destroy the streets. We're actually going there next weekend.
Oh.
For cheerleading competition.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So I'm hoping it's a little cleaned up by then.
Yeah. I'm going to be the one who rains on parades. I'm picking the Eagles. As cool as it would be to see a three-peat, I just don't want it to be the Chiefs, just because repercussions it has on my life with my friends and family. So I am going to be that guy, and I am going to pick the Eagles. I'm going to go. Last year it was 38, or last time they played it was 38-35. So this time I'm going to go 35-31 with Eagles. I think it's, again, I think Saquon's going to be a huge difference here. I do think Saquon brings a different aspect to that team, and I think just the momentum he's been able to build with them throughout the postseason, just this season in general, and it's just momentum for me. At the end of the day, I do want the Eagles to win, but in my mind, I'm fairly confident the Chiefs win this game. I just don't want to admit it too much.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so, on record, I'm picking the Eagles, but deep down in my heart, we're never going to not know the Chiefs are probably going to win this.
At least you're honest. At least you're honest.
See,
That's how we're going to bet on the Eagles and not let anybody know.
Yeah,
Right.
I think what we all just heard is you're really a Chiefs fan. Is what
No,
we all.
not a Chiefs fan. Not a Chiefs fan.
You said deep down in your heart, you know the Chiefs are going to win. That
I said
sounds
my
like
mind.
a fan
I
to
said
me.
mine. I
You
said
said
my
heart.
mind. You didn't say heart.
There's evidence on it now.
I said mine. So again, we do appreciate you guys coming on here with us. It's always fun to get other people's perspective of the sport and kind of the Chiefs in general. Philly fans were actually not as fun to try to get on here to talk with us.
No, I bet.
I think, and I wasn't too surprised by some of them. Some kind of wanted to, but then we just couldn't get the times to match up. And then they were like, well, if you really want us to come on, you'll do this. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to worry about that. I don't need to talk to Eagle fans that bad. So I thank you guys for taking time out and working with.
Thank you for having us.
So you guys have a YouTube channel, correct?
Yes. We have YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
And we'll make sure when we post the video, we'll put your guys' YouTube on there for everyone to come and subscribe to your guys' channel. Hopefully we can get you guys back on here soon. It was fun. We had a blast doing this.
Yeah, when the Rangers are playing for the Stanley Cup, we can get them on here and get some predictions for that going on.
I keep saying this is going to be the year they're going to shock us.
Yeah, let's only hope.
And then I'm going to have to sell a kidney and my husband to go to the Stanley Cup.
Hey, I mean, you never know when it's going to come back around, right? Like,
Exactly. We got to figure out what we're going to do.
We think about this every day.
This is what goes on in our minds. How are we going to get there?
How are you going to get there?
Like
you
next year, we're coming to Missouri next year. We're going to a Chiefs game. We already have it planned. We don't know when, but we're getting there.
Have you been to Arrowhead? Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Oh, you haven't?
No, we're dying to go.
No,
you're gonna love it.
We can't wait.
If you
You
love
guys are going to have a blast. It's the tailgating there is absolutely ridiculous. People get there at like 5 a.m, even before then to get first in line just to start tailgating and drinking super early. So by the time, let's say it's a 3 o'clock game, they're blitzed by 9 a.m. So they don't even know what the hell's going on. They just know they need to go in and just start yelling.
Right.
Chiefs fans, there's no other tailgaters like the Chiefs fans. And as a Broncos fan saying that, like they tailgate better than anybody and we've been to a lot of games. So yeah, there's nothing there. So you guys will have a blast doing that. So again, thank you guys for your time. Go find them on the Instagram, Unhinged, Unplugged. We will get them back on here soon. We want to thank you guys. Tomorrow night, we have the co-founder of Smashed Up Fantasy Sports. He's going to join us. It's a different kind of fantasy league for all different kinds of sports. And he's going to also give us his Super Bowl predictions. And that's going to wrap up our Super Bowl coverage for the week. 3 shows, 3 nights. It's been a blast, but it's also kind of exhausting at the same time. So thank you guys for your time, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.